Good morning. Let's see. Hello, Lily of the Valley. If you can let me know, or somebody can let me know if you can hear me. I did not check my, let me see. I also don't know why I look so dark. Echo, turn off desk.
Okay.
Oh, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Mine had too much light behind me. Happy New Year's to everyone. Miss Phyllis, Happy New Year and good morning. I know it's super early. I am up and running. Yeah, I know it's super early on a weekday, which a lot of people have to work, whether it's January 1st or not, but I wanted to get things switched, so I figure I would just get things switched and head going, and if people could watch it back if they wanted to watch it back. So I have coffee in hand. Oh, before I forget, today is Stuff Your Kindle Day. Now, usually these are just romance novel oriented, but today is Stuff Your Kindle. I'm going to put a link to this here. Normally it's romance novel based, but it is actually fantasy novel based today. I don't think I've ever seen a fantasy one. I'm relatively new. I never knew they did these, but I did not, but there is a fantasy one going today. Generally, they're more indie books. Actually, I think they're always indie books, but I've already downloaded a ton. So again, they're free. I will say this, when you go to get one, you need to do it on a browser. Sorry, this is not promotion, but it's free books. So I'm going to promote free books. But you need to do it on a browser. You don't have to have an actual Kindle. You can have your iPhone that has the Kindle app on it, or a Android device that has the Kindle app on it, or your computer, whatever, right? You don't have to have an actual Kindle. You just need the Kindle app to read them. But you do need to, from what I've seen, you need to be on a browser to order them. And when you go to them, you'll see that the Kindle price is $0. But if you have, sometimes it will show Kindle Unlimited. You want to make sure you pick the buy now with one click where it says the $0, because then it's just yours forever. And so, yeah. Anyways, just wanted to make sure that I passed on the fantasy Stuff Your Kindle Day, because again, I'm new to the Stuff Your Kindle Days, but I've only seen romance ones, and so I was so excited to see a fantasy version of that. So that is my good deed for the day. Yes, I need I am definitely amping up the coffee, but I definitely wanted to make sure I said that. This is, I've tried a concoction. Their International Delights has a mocha peppermint that I can actually taste, and it tastes really good. I can't find it anywhere. And then I could find the, sorry, my daughter texted me and drew my attention. So then I got the Coffee Mate, which is not that good, but I mixed it with some Fairlife chocolate, and it's doable. Not great, but doable. Hello, Simon and Deirdre and Jamie and Patrick and Ann. I just needed to get that on the, make sure I remembered the Stuff Your Kindle. All right. We have a mess here, I have finished. Oh, okay, let's see. I'm not going to flood the internet with pictures of my granddaughter because they're not putting lots of pictures up, but Let's just say, how adorable is she? Okay, we'll get that out of the way, that my granddaughter is the most beautiful baby on the earth. I have done a picture a day of her since the day of her birth, and that has been a lot of fun. So who doesn't like to see cute? Oh, the link. So the link that I showed you, or that I put, is somebody went through and made a list of them, because they're actually kind of hard to find on Amazon. So you sometimes get people who will make up a list. So this is a list of all of the books that are free, or at least that they've been able to find that are free today. So you can click on the purchase link, the Amazon link, that way it takes you right to it. Because otherwise it's kind of hard to find which are where the free books are. So sorry, I should have been clear about that, Raven. That that link I sent is somebody's list of all of the free Stuff Your Kindle books they found for today. It's only today. Thank you, Deborah. She is gorgeous. She is gorgeous. I have found that the Canon Ivy cut, I do 2 on a page and cut it in half, fits pretty good. Early on I was just, taking up a big chunk of the page because she's just adorable. But um I do have a small Hobonichi this year, so I'm like, okay, well, if I just do the half size, it actually works pretty good. I also tested, I'm sorry, okay, we're really discombobulated, but I went with this half size. So this is an A6 Hobonichi. It's called, well, this is the Hobonichi Techo 2023 original half year. I just got this to test. I started in September. And so I got this size to test and see if what I was going to get for 2024, because 2023 has been a bounce around calendar situation. Her name is Isla. This I tested and loved. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. I tested for December doing my weather tracking. In the beginning part, that I never have anything, I never do anything with this section. So I played around with, I know it is a beautiful, sorry, I'm trying not to be too gushy, but I'm massively in love. It's a beautiful name. It's actually a Scottish name. Sorry. Sorry for people who don't like children. I love my children, obviously, but there is something different about your grandchild. Anyways, I really like how this turned out, and I'm definitely going to, because then I'll be able to see all year. I will be able to watch the wind patterns. I also liked, although I wasn't as great at marking it, but whenever I had impactful dreams, because I track weather and the way that it affects my journey type dreams, it very much has an impact, and it's very trackable. And so, but I also put a tracking for where there's an event, like if there is a shift in the astrological, what's going on astrologically, or even an important birthday or something. And that tells me to go to the daily and go see, because I probably wrote something about the dream that I had or whatever. So, or if I maybe it was crazy weather and then I did like a special tincture or salt or something, I just will check it under the event and then go to the daily to see. You keep getting pictures of you keep getting flashes of Isla when I swing back, because I did a picture a day since she was born. But so this has worked out really good, and I am 100% going to do this in the yearly one. This December was a tester, really happy with it. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else I need to say about this? I have to say that I didn't really use the weekly because, so as you all know, I went from a cousin, which I don't have one with me, but I went from a cousin, which is the A5, which has the weekly and the monthly and the dailies in a larger format. The half size ones, now for 2024, I got the Hobonichi Techo. So this is one whole year and not the half year. That was just because I was testing it. This does not have the weekly in it. And so but they do have a separate weekly booklet. I have to say, I actually didn't end up using this too much. I'm still going to put it in my rotation, and it's mostly for future planning, and all my astrological things are at the top. But I have to say that I didn't reference it a lot in the last couple of months. I don't know, something about the smaller daily format. I really just kind of went to the day and jotted it down. And I also used the monthly a little bit more. And and I'm a weekly spread girl. Like, I need to see my week at a glance. So I am going to still use this. I bought one for 2024, but I'll be interested to see if I continue to not use it all that much. I'm not sure. We shall see. But out with the old. Of course, this wasn't a full one. This is a half one, but you can see, and I didn't even use all of it, but it holds, it holds the stickers and stuff well. Hobonichi's chunk up well and don't have too much of an issue. Deborah says, I have 8 grandchildren, 1 great granddaughter. Oh, Deborah, and there's nothing like them. I know. It's kind of strange. Like, obviously, there's been a lot of mixed emotions because my granddaughter was born around the time of my son's death anniversary, and that's always a hard. December's a rough. And so it's been interesting. It's been very, very healing, but also very stirring up of a lot of things. Like, it's been an interesting kind of high emotion December. Not all in a negative way. Definitely some uncomfortability, but also a lot of healing as well, and a lot of sadness, like that he's not here to see her and things like that. So it's been an interesting thing. But I will say, again, I have had 2 children. I have lots of nieces and nephews that I adore, but it's not quite the same. Your granddaughter is so interesting dynamic because you love them just as intensely, but they're not your child, right? So you don't get to see them all, 24/7. And obviously 2 other people have control over their fate and their life. So it's an odd sensation. Um, but greatly, greatly enjoyable. Okay. So, what do we need to do today? As a couple things. So, this one again is the smaller A6. I have already gone through and I have put in all of my birthdays and my ancestral observance days, and in the weekly I put in all of the astrological shifts based on real sky. Thank you, Patrick did update his. I should grab that over there, but Patrick did update. See if I can link it. His calendar, you know how he does the calendars, because Patrick and I did the calendars for years and years before he did them for everybody else, but he did update it for Real Sky for 2024. So yes, I am plugging this because it's awesome. And you can get it in PDF form if you just want to get the PDF form, it looks like, or you can get a hard copy of it, which I always get because, BFFs. Okay. Pop that there. But anyways, that has the real sky movements, which is not hard to, or not easy to find. So I put those all in the weekly, as well as I'm following the runic calendar as Nigel Pennick puts out in the, oh shoot, Jamie, what is the name of that book? I should have put that. Nope, I didn't put that here. I need to put that over here. Runic Runes and Astrology by Nigel Pennick, something like that. Um, something like that. But anyways, so I put that in when Astrology and Runes, I got it backwards. Thank you, Jamie. Astrology and Runes by Nigel Pennick. So I put in where the rune changes as well as any of the astrological changes in the weekly. So that's there. So all that kind of stuff is set up and ready to go. But at the beginning, so when in a Hobonichi, after the month page, you get this blank page here. And so I like to set that up for my year ahead reading. And you always get like a blank page before you get to the month. And so that's where my card of the month kind of touch and go. So I know what my new card of the month is. So what I did, as always, I do stickers. Oh, I also needed to update. Okay. Sorry, folks. This is just us doing, this is stuff I would be doing. So I also, okay, let's do this. So this is one of my favorite things ever. This, if you all who follow my planner things know, I tried doing a binder, a calendar with the disc binding, and I liked parts of it, but I really liked everything combined into one book, and I couldn't do that without this being huge. So then this turned into my sort of, I don't know, what do you want to call this, but my sort of everything divination book. I have a copy of my For Love of Divination that's in here. I keep all of my spreads in here. These are all of these are spreads that are like in my shop, or if I'm testing a spread, sometimes like it's jotted in there as I test it before I turn it into something. It's got all that kind of stuff in here. But then I also have sections, well, these are like my quick one sheet wonders, my pendulum boards. But I also have, like, this is my projects that I'm tracking, which right now is really diving into my new Real Sky birth chart. So I have all that kind of stuff in here. And then at the very front, I have all of my family's birth dates, all of my ancestors' birth information. And then I have my wheels of the year. So this is 2022's. This is 2023's. I did not go in. This was in my Hobonichi, the sticker, so I didn't go in there and do that. So that's there. So this year, what I did for that is just printed it right onto the page. So this is my half letter wheel of the year thing, but I just printed the stickers in this is my wheel, my year ahead reading that I did with the Witch Sisters. And so I just printed it right onto the page. I need to transfer, I won't do this on here. I need to transfer this information that I'd already written up because I was going to put stickers on here, but I'll just transfer that information there. And that way I've got that here. So that goes in here. And I reference this all the time. There's a section for me to go back in and just do a quick, what was my energy check-in reading that Patrick and I do every turning of the wheel. So I do access this, but I thought it was a good idea to just print it off right on there. And so then I didn't have to like re-stick it on. But so I do have to fill that in. Let me stick this in here. And then I also do track, I think that's back here is where I keep this. I do like to track like the year. I figure out all of my classes for the year. So I printed out a sheet for that. I have to sit down and do that this week. I have the first class is this Saturday, starting this Saturday, which is really just focusing on reading skills, regardless of what the system is. That starts Saturday. But other than that, I don't have the whole year mapped out yet, which I have been doing the last couple of years. So I do it on this. So I have to sit down and do that, but I did print those out. So I have to sit down. That's one of my tasks for this week. Okay, so that's kind of ready. So then for the Hobonichi, let's see, what can we do here? Let's put this over here for right now. I did print, I guessed on sizes. I made it smaller because this is an A6, not the A5. I keep looking, I don't know why I keep looking in the middle, but I do. So I hope that this looks kind of large. We're just going to work around it, see what I can get on here. And then I printed up these are my cards of the month, and those will go in that first place. And then I can kind of write up how I think that's going to help me this month. And then maybe a check-in. It's always my goal to check back at the end of the month. I'm not always great at that, but it's good to know at least that the card is changing. I love the pendulum. I think that was like a pendulum workshop. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Sorry, we're pumping in the pumping in the coffee. Jessica said, have you ever shared a video of book resources? I do feel like I have at the back of the For Love of Divination. What I do have, I don't think it's in mine though. I don't think I stuck it in here. But at the back of this generally is a list of sort of the main, like the bookshelf, which, so, you know, these are my main recommendations for different systems. And so I do have, I have that in the back. I feel like I've done maybe resources because I try to keep 2 or 3 per system. I can put it on my list to do an updated one. I haven't done that in a while, but there may be one a ways back. I'm not sure. Good question though, but I know I've done it in the past, but it's probably been years, so it's probably a good idea. Okay, and then I also printed out my runes, because when it's the rune changing of the rune, I will pop that in as well. This is just a sticker sheet of runes that are the images from the little Anglo-Saxon rune deck that you can print out yourself. So that's what those images are. They're just muted down for that deck. But all right, so that's the sticker sheets that I have here. So I'm gonna, let's see, how can we, and I did use, we'll talk about this in a minute. I did use the Witch Sister deck for my Wheel of the Year, which was very good choice, very powerful. All right, why don't we zoom this in a little bit and see. Of course, I have the benefit of having already kind of done this to set it up for printing out my half letter sheet, but I don't think they're going to fit the same. So we're just going to play around with it and get this in. This is just sticker paper. I like the matte transparent by Mako, M-A-C-O, that you can get on Amazon. So that's where I get it. They do have, you know, be careful. They do have a full white, which is good when you're using it to put like images onto playing cards to make like a deck. Most of my decks first started out on playing cards that I just stuck on. So they do have a white version, but I love this transparent matte. It's not shiny. It just really melts into the paper pretty good. So I'm guessing we'll just kind of get the main pieces out and then see what we can actually decorate. I did, I'll show you in a second. Sorry. Apparently I can't cut. Should I have pre-cut these before this? Sure. But this is just what I planned to do today, was get this organized and ready to go, because today's January 1st. um, has on from people online and who did their Wheel of the Year or year ahead readings. What decks did you guys end up using? I know Patrick. Well, Patrick, did you end up switching it to another deck? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get the main components, then I will be able to pay more attention. Last year, I did an Oracle deck for my year ahead, and I have to say, I thought I would really like that because I use Oracle decks more than I use tarot decks these days, to be very honest. I get far more, I get a lot of past life readings, which I adore, but those does have tarot deck involved, but there's more involvement in Oracle decks. I do a lot of ancestor readings, which are Oracle based, heavy Oracle based. So I don't do as much, or I do a lot of Lenormand readings. So I don't do as much like straight tarot. And so I thought I would really enjoy doing my year ahead Oracle style, but I have to say I did not sink into it. Of course, again, I had a really bad tracking year. I did not do good on planners, just all kinds of stuff like that. So I think that contributed, but I actually didn't love the whole year of Oracle. I prefer, I think, the tarot. Yes, Greenwood, Patrick says. Jessica used the Nameless One tarot. Ooh, and a Weaver's Oracle. Nice. I had a couple people this year request. So I'm coming off, obviously, doing a lot. I still have some people that slid in later. I have a few more to do this week. But I'm coming off a lot of year ahead readings, which is so interesting because, sorry, I'm just making this a little bit less bulky. Because I do, and I don't do it for myself because I track weather and outside energy all of the time. But in my readings for clients, I do a year ahead reading, but then I pull using the Illuminated Earth Oracle, like a heads up, like a forecast on outside energy. Uh, I think all of us have to be really aware of there's a lot of outside energy that we don't have a lot of control over, but definitely bleeds into our energy web, right? And so I really like to have a check-in, like is where on these 3 months, I pull one for a quarter, where you might want to keep an eye out on the outer energy for, these reasons. Sometimes helpful, but most of the time it's just hey, put your boundaries up a little stronger. That has been really interesting this year. And if I put all those together, there have been a lot of cards that have shown the same card showing up in relatively similar positions. Like the second half of the year energetically looks a little bit rough. Like people need to have extra boundaries set up. A lot of the attachment card where you're stressed, right? Everybody's stressed, everybody's worried about money, things like that. And so instead of trying to stay open and move with to try to deal with the things, everybody's like clenching. The attachment card has barnacles, and they're just clenching them, which is hurting them, versus just like loosening your hands up. That one was coming up a lot in similar positions. So I definitely feel like we all need to to just collectively say, put up extra boundaries. I don't know if you're boundary keepers like I do, put salt on, use Himalayan salt, use mirrors, things like that to set your boundaries so that you're not taking on the outside world energy. Because a lot of times we do feel like we say, oh, I'm dragging so rough, right? Like I'm dragging, it's really difficult. It's a hard, I'm feeling all of this stuff, but and if you stop and think about it, it's not even actually you. Like you're taking on this negative energy that's all around you, and so you really do need to be very mindful of it. And I think this year, from what I've seen from year ahead readings, my forecast for this year is to everybody keep good boundaries up for themselves energetically. I'll do a quick um, year ahead, show you what I do for a year ahead spread. You can obviously, you'll see mine in a second, but I'll show you in this, very easy to do yourself. Just grab any deck that you have. You don't have to do the forecast ones. Again, I don't do the forecast cards for myself, only because I'm constantly checking in on that with weather, with astrology, with like, that's part of my personal practice. So I don't do that, the broad ones for myself, but I highly recommend it, and unless you're somebody who's staying on top of those things. So you'll see here, let's see. Let me get this. This will show better. You can see here, this is my wheel of the year or year ahead. And so all I do is shuffle up the deck, whatever deck you're going to use, split, obviously. I pull from the bottom of the split for my card of the year or my client's card of the year. And then I pull a card for each month. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So I pull those cards out for each of the monthly cards. And I also pull a rune or a geomancy sigil of the year. So my rune of the year is Kauna, which is a different way of saying it, but it's Kenaz or Ken is my rune of the year. So my card of the year is a 10 of Pentacles, and my rune of the year is Kauna, and then I have the monthly cards here. Now, I think it's really important to look at it like overall energetically. I do this for people, but I do it for myself too. I just stuck this on here so that I could see, I have one major arcana, not counting the center one, but counting the outer cards. I have one major arcana. I do have something in each one of the elements, each of the suits. But I'm really have low actually on air. I think it's important to see where you're low or missing energy, because then I know I have to pay more attention, right? It's like astrology. Just because there's something not in a house doesn't mean you don't have any energy in the house of relationships. It generally means that you need to really pay attention to that area that is low. So I'm going to have to pay more attention to my mental space energy because it's not naturally in my cycle here. So I have to fill in that gap. I also recommend looking at, and I did that here, I haven't transferred it yet. I like to see how many active and passive numbers there are. So that for me is passive, because think about in tarot, sorry, we're going to do a mini tarot lesson. In tarot, odd numbers are generally active cards, and even numbers are generally stabilizing cards. And you can really watch the flow of the minors. If you have the number 1, active spark. Number 2, we balance things out. Number 3, we have growth. Number 4 stabilizes things out. 5 shakes things up. 6 harmonize. 7 new growth. 8 we master, right? 9 explosive growth, and 10 we have this fullness of culmination. So you can see that rise and fall of action, and not passive, but receptive energy or stabilizing energy by the numbers. So I always like to, and then court cards are generally all active. They're active in different ways, right? The pages are playing and learning. The knights are focused and plowing forward. The queens are actively nurturing and growing, and the kings are actively ruling. So they are, I see the courts as being all active. So I like to just kind of take stock and see, do I have mostly active cards? Like I've had people who had almost everything active. They're going to have to work to keep their energy stable to not get burnt out. Now you can see here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 stable numbers and 1, 2, 3, 4 active numbers. So I might have to do a little more to keep things moving and rolling. Although again, you then will look at the whole pattern. But those are great tips to like look at your elemental makeup. Do you have something of everything? If you don't, note that so that you can make sure that you stay on top of that. Check is it all active energy? Well, you're going to be exhausted. Keep refilling your bucket. Or is it all stable energy and there's really stuff that you need to get done? Then you might have to work extra hard, right, to keep that energy moving. So I love taking a look at those types of things. Once you've got your cards on the table, you can kind of get that general look. But the cards themselves, for me, the monthly cards, they're really best used in the month. So my first month card of the month is made of air. So I need to be, playing around a little bit. I need to be loose and flexible in my mental space. And that's going to best help me navigate this month. It's not, I can't really do much more with that until I'm in the month. I also don't see cards of the year or runes of the year or whatever as being divinatory. So to me, it doesn't say I'm going to have a 10 of Pentacles year. It for me means if this is my web of energy and this is all outer energy, the card of the year is like the center of the web that says, I need to keep stepping back into the energy of the 10 of Pentacles over and over again to best navigate the year. The rune is a battery bank for me to pull from. I need to keep shining that flashlight forward, and I need to keep stepping into 10 of Pentacles, which is legacy energy, right? I'm not doing things with my time, my energy, and my resources just for this very moment, but thinking about how that can continue to roll, set myself up so that that energy keeps rolling forward. So I see the card of the year as very much being about how I'm supposed to position myself over and over again throughout the course of the year. Anyways, that was probably way more than you wanted, but that's for me as a year ahead. Truthfully, a true wheel of the year for me, some people do get wheels instead of pulling a card of the month, you pull a card for the winter solstice, the winter's peak, the spring equinox, the spring peak. So you're pulling it for the eight spoke cycle of the wheel, which I sometimes do with animals or runes for myself. But this year I've just done a year ahead because I tend to do energy check-ins with Patrick on those days. So I didn't feel like I needed an extra wheel of that this year. So that's what I'm doing this year. So there's the crash course, I guess, on a simple way to do a year ahead. Okay. Sorry. I think that I feel like that was overkill, but hopefully that helps. It would be cool. You know what? That's a great idea. I've got a couple workbooks that are in. You guys have good ideas. I need to have a piece of sticker paper or something. We'll just use this one. Wheel worksheet or workbook or something. We could even do a workshop and work our way through it. Some people might like that next year, closer to the year time people do it. And video book tour. We'll put it like that. That's what have been requested. I also need to do my recap of all the books or all the decks that I did reviews on. I can already do a little bit of a mini recap on the Witch Sister, which that's my last deck that I did a review of. But I have used this for myself quite a bit. I have also had the opportunity to use it for some clients as well. And I have to say, I'm not a big, how do I say this? I'm not a big person on themes. So for example, themes for me are more artistic, and I'm fine with that. I like themed decks, but it doesn't affect the way that I read the deck, right? For me, the death card is a death card is a death card. It doesn't matter what picture is on it. It's just how I read. I really don't care about the picture. I mean, I care because I like to look at it, and sometimes it will add an extra nuance to it. But for the most part, I read cards the same way. It doesn't matter what the theme of the deck is. This deck, I will say, the secondary theme that the author has put into the guidebook actually works really hand in hand for some powerful readings. But starting just on the base level where how I would interpret the card anyways, but then adding in like the secondary theme that's in the cards makes for a very interactive and communicative deck. It's really quite powerful to the degree in which what is that one deck? I always can't remember the name of it. It's an animal deck that's in pastel colors. Spirit. There's an animal on every single card, and I don't generally fully like animal tarot decks. I don't think they always work. But this one, I can't see it in my favorite cubicle. I never can remember. Is it Paulina Cassidy? Did she do it's an animal deck? It's all pastel colors. It's much more of a hard-hitting deck than it visually looks. Anyways, Spirit Song. Thank you, Miss Moonlight. Spirit Song. That deck is like working with an oracle and a tarot deck because they did such a good job at the tarot and the picking a good animal. Same thing with the Guardian of the Night Tarot. It feels like you're using a combo oracle and tarot deck because it's just so well done. Same thing with the Herb Crafters Tarot. That is so well done with its theme that you really get the benefit of two layers, the traditional, however you read tarot, and then this extra layer because it's been so well done. It takes intentionality by the creator to make this work. This is similar, where it feels 100% like a tarot deck, but it also, that second layer is so strong that you feel like you have an oracle deck in hand as well. So I've been really pleased with it as a reading deck as well. But anyways, I usually always do at the end of the year, but I guess it's going to be the first week. I'll try to do that this week, sort of go back over the decks that I reviewed and how I felt about them. So I'll try to get that done this week. But this one, phew, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. That is the Witch Sisters Tarot by Julia Jeffries. I don't have the box because it hasn't gone back into the box, but this is the guidebook. It's just called, I believe, Witch Sisters Tarot by Julia Jeffrey. She's the one who did Tarot of the Hidden Realms, which is one of my OG decks and one of my favorite decks still to this day. Gabe said, Legacy and Grandchild. I know. Yes, true. All about Isla. Okay. Sorry, I'm running on rabbit trails. Not that any of us should be surprised by that. So let's see. Can we get, oh yeah, we can get this maybe. Because this is, again, much smaller space, but we can get that there. I definitely like to have them listed out. I'm a big fan. I don't care about that. Maybe I could do that so I could get that in there. And I do like to, not that I'm going to forget what deck that is. And then maybe I could just put this into the middle of this page and then decorate around that. I think that's probably going to be the best bet. Okay. I think that will do it. Let me see if I've skipped anything. If I have, it's just because I was babbling. Jessica ended up with a lot of court cards. So a lot of active, intentional, active energy. I love court cards. I know a lot of people do not, but court cards, just mean you're going to be very intentional about the way that you are navigating, right? I love Marie White's in the Marielle Tarot, Marie White's description of the court cards. The first time I read that, because I felt like nobody like interpreted court cards quite the way I did. Not in a, it just not, I didn't understand why people struggled with the court cards because they just made sense to me. But when I read her description of that, I just thought it was a perfect description because she talks about, and I'm not going to get this perfect, but she talks about, I think her her pages are initiating, her knights are questing, her queens are nurturing, and her kings are ruling, maybe something like that. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but something like that. So it really tells you about how you should be moving energetically throughout the month. Like that month, if it's a night, like you should be questing, focused on the hunt for something. If it's the page, right, you should be loosening up your shoulders, be flexible, be open to shifts and changes and playing around with energy. I don't know where my little, oh, here it is. So it can tell you a lot about how to navigate that month in a powerful way. I did not pull, hello, Viviana. Patrick, I did not pull an animal of the year. Here's the thing. I'll show you in a second. I work with animal energy all the time. Like it's always in my dreams. It's just an energy that I am always working with. So I often find pulling one ahead seems to end up being redundant because animals just show up as they need to show up. And I've done different things over the years, but I've just found most of the time, they're just going to show up when they show up. But I do like to have an animal to like really get to know and lean into for the year. So I didn't pull one. In fact, the card's right here. So let me see if I can find it. Sorry, folks, we're going to do another rabbit trail and you can blame Patrick for it. Let me stick this down. Let's do this. There we go. All right, let me see if I can find quickly the tens in this deck are so powerful. There she is. Whew, I feel like I'm in trouble this year. Every time I see her, I'm like, oh dear, I'm in trouble. So the 10 of stones or the 10 of pentacles is my card of the year. And so if you go to the 10 of stones, I love the full, there you can see her in all her glory. Like, that's some strong energy to step back into, right? But anyways, if you read her, she is very strongly into ancestors, which doesn't surprise me. But we have the return of the serpent, which is the symbolic creature of the suit of stones in this deck. And so she talks about how she offers us her help like the serpent. She moves through the coiling patterns of death and rebirth with grace, and opens the pathways for us to try with the ancestors. So because of that snake being so strong in my card of the year, I decided to just use the snake to dive into snake energy. I run into a lot of snakes at the cabin. I actually do enjoy snake energy. Like I don't mind snakes. I'm not afraid of snakes. So this is a snake card pull from the animal knowledge cards with the artwork by Susan Seddon-Boley. And so this is the snake card from that. Transformation, healing, sexuality, rebirth as keywords. She goes on to talk about it on the back of it. So I'm going to work with snake energy because it showed up so strongly in this card. And that's kind of what I'm going to use as my animal of the year to kind of dive into. Okay, I don't want to lose this. So yeah, so that's how, so sorry, I think Patrick asked me that question, but yes, that's how I'm going to dive into. You know, Gabe, and Patrick did pick up this deck, so he may be able to answer that. Gabe says, I'm curious, is the Witch Sister deck balanced in terms? Yes. If anything, to be on, being completely honest, yes, it is mostly female figures, right? It is a Witch Sister deck. There are males in the Kings. The Kings, I think there's a male in the Lovers. The Emperor is a stag, so it's animal male energy. It is mostly female figures. It is not a feminine deck. Not when you talk about like feminine energy. It is, if anything, sorry, I gotta adjust the bra straps. It's very rude. It is very much, I would say, more traditionally, and I'm saying masculine, not male, right? It is traditionally, it feels much more masculine, active, driven. All of the cards feel very active, oriented, very much on the prowl, very much, you know, the Fool card, even like she's just she's like positioned, ready to sprint. So, it is, if anything, it's balanced in masculine and feminine energy, but I would say it actually feels much more masculine, even though, again, not talking male and female, but in terms of that energy. But visually, it's mostly all women. I don't generally like decks like that. I tend, for tarot, I like to have a mix. I don't like all female and I don't like all male, but this one, very, very, very good. Hopefully that answers your question. I mean, obviously that's coming from a woman's perspective, which isn't the best. But again, visually, 100%, almost all women except for a few exceptions. But energetically, it feels very, very traditionally masculine energy, not male. I know we probably just need to get rid of even the terminology, but yes. And then thank you, Patrick. So my moon is an interesting note about me and my granddaughter. So with I call it astronomical astrology, where it's like what was actually in the sky when I was born. I am actually a sun in Virgo and a moon in Ophiuchus, and Ophiuchus is the snake energy. And so my granddaughter, her sun is in Ophiuchus and her moon is in Virgo, so she's like a mirror of me, which I think is going to be very powerful. And I'm not going to go into the story of her birth, but it was pure shamanic magic, and I am not exaggerating, but we're not going to even go there today. But as well as, I think, and Patrick can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like because obviously when she was born, the moon was in Ophiuchus, or the sun was in Ophiuchus. Is it still in Ophiuchus, Patrick? Was it all through December? And Ophiuchus energy was strong in December. That's all I'm saying. It was very powerful. I haven't put it into my deck. I feel like I need another one. Patrick, do you have any extra of these? Because I need to leave one out, but I need to put one in my deck. But this is Ophiuchus. So I think that also, with the snake, that also is really leaning into and coming to an understanding of Ophiuchus energy as well. So I'm actually going to stick that with my other cards. So yeah, it's been a powerful December. All right, what am I doing here? Let's move this back up here. The front part of December, what was obviously when she was born, and there was just so much being pulled up. Patrick said that he feels energetic balance imagery. Yes, definitely. I'm trying, since my DNA is primary Scottish. Yep. So he hasn't had it very long either. I don't know that he's actually used it. So we'll have to check back. All right, where do I want to stick this? Right in the middle ish. Again, I have learned one of the things I have learned with the Hobonichi, because you really can't pull things back up very easily, especially larger things. I've learned to just, you know what, just let it be what it is. I always used to say it was my Libra self that needed everything to be not everything. Like I am a very cluttered person, but there are certain things that I need to be very precise and organized. And I always said it was my Libra self, but I'm not even a Libra, nor do I have anything in Libra. I don't think. Do I have anything in Libra? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Right, is this my... This is my Western astrology chart. This is my... Yeah, I don't have anything. See how weird that is? I have absolutely nothing in Libra. And I would say that I'm like the most Libra of Libras, but apparently I was mixing up, and that's the other thing that I really want to lean into is, and I started, writing out, first impressions. I, I obviously did not have a solid understanding of Virgo. And so I really need to dive into both Virgo and Ophiuchus, as they are very powerful. I have done a lot of diving into Ophiuchus, but I really need to dive more into Virgo, because I actually have quite a few things in Virgo and I have nothing in Libra. So interesting. I don't know. I agree. Well, tempered Claire says I still energetically feel those things, but, and again, Western astrology is a system. There is insight to be gained in that system, and so I'm not throwing everything out with that, even though I feel a little duped by some of it, but there's much to be learned from that as well. So I'm not saying that there isn't resonance there, but when I went through my chart in the real sky, it was very confronting. It was very much, yes, that is you, and it's making you face like what's really there, which was really difficult. So I still, again, this is not going to a real sky debate, but the system of astrology, which Western astrology is a system, right? System that's put in place a couple thousand years ago. People use it, love it. I'm a big fan of systems, right? Just let us know that we're working with the system, not what's on the sky. But I'm a big fan of systems. And so there's obviously something there that works for a lot of people. And I learned a lot about myself through that lens. But boy, did I. It's like with Western astrology, I was sitting in front of a mirror, nicely dressed, and my hair was done. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, hello, I see you. But with going through my real sky astronomical chart, it was like standing naked in front of a mirror with my hair just, like it looks when I first woke up. Like it was kind of a stripped down, like, let's get to business here feel that was very confronting. um that's my description of the difference between the two for me. Lily Riley, I do not have my time of birth. Does that matter? It only matters for the houses. Again, astrologists can correct me if I'm wrong. You can still get a lot of information just off of your date. And then sometimes people don't know their time, but they know their general, like they know they were born in the morning or they know that they were born in the evening. And so that can sometimes get you closer. If, let's say, the moon was being really shifty during that particular day, if you at least know the morning and the evening, that can help. As well, but you can still get a lot of information. We won't even talk about how I'm feeling about the houses right now because people start throwing tomatoes at me. Hi, Gerald. Good morning, Tarot and Witchery. Patrick approves of my tropical versus real sky astrology. That's what it felt like. When I sat down that night to go through my whole chart, it really felt like I was like lumps and bumps and pieces that we want to hide were all out for exposure for sure. All right, let's see. I just have these because they worked on the other setup. They may not be as helpful in this setup, but let's just give it a try. I've got more from the sticker set that I can. Again, this was a sticker set I found on Etsy and then just printed out onto this transparent paper. You can go on to Etsy and type in like witchy stickers. I typed in like forest stickers or something like that. And then you can just print them out yourself if you have a printer and some transparent paper. I usually have all of my main animal guardians. I need to get a wolf and a raven or crow, but bear has been bear's my most active. In terms of always in all of my journey dreams and things like that. So I guess she got a sticker first. Oh, do I have Neptune in Libra? Oh, okay. I missed that. I have a splash of Libra energy. That's a very small splash. Jessica says, does anybody have any New Year's traditions? Anyone having pork and sauerkraut? No. Now, I believe you're supposed to, isn't that also like some people, you're supposed to have black-eyed peas? I usually do, like the black-eyed peas. That is not great. Okay, we're just throwing stuff down and we're not worrying about it. Not worrying about it. I liked my original layout, if you just came in, like I did this on the computer here and it worked well, but clearly I'm not taking as much care on this. Well, plus it's much smaller space, so. One of the best investments Miss Moonlight bought was an eco printer. You get 3,000 copies for every. Nice. Now, I'm assuming, just like assumptions you shouldn't make. I'm assuming like an eco printer is a lot more expensive. We're just gonna pop this over here. I did want mushroom. Okay, we got to get I put that into the moon, so let's put that down. My rune of the year. I need to make another, if you have like a rune or you do a sigil of the year, I really recommend that you get crafty. Go to the craft store, get something to make it into a keychain or make it into whatever you want to make it into so that you're keeping it in front of you and using it. I do, but what my point was is I have, I'm not making these yet but I will be eventually. I have made a rune set for myself that I keep a hole in the top of it so that I can put it onto a meditation thing. So I've got Kauna here, but I use this set. So I need to make another one so that can stay sort of out. So that's also on my list. I've got to wait till I get back up to the cabin. But you can go get it onto stuff so that you are accessing that energy. Same thing with your card of the year. Make a print for yourself and pop it up somewhere where you're seeing it all the time. Otherwise, sorry, this one does not want to come out. Otherwise, you're just going to forget about it and you're not going to keep situating yourself into that energy that is supposed to be helpful for you. Oh my goodness, this is going to get annoying. Breathe. Sauerkraut for money all year. I'm not a big fan of sauerkraut. Oh, 200, that's not too horrible for a printer. Taryn Witchery is cooking for the weekend, walking in the woods. Love it. Lily of Valley pork and sauerkraut. I can't, there's something else. It's, I don't know if it's just Southern, but black eyed peas and something else in the South. Okay, we're going to set that moon. No, I can't because I need to get that. I want to put those together, but I can't, it's not cooperating. It does better with corners, but I like to soften the corners of the picture, but apparently I need to leave one of them. Yeah, it comes up so much better. Happy New Year, Milo. Happy New Year. Just trying to, we're just chit-chatting while I set up my year ahead reading. I have some mushrooms, have another moon with a mushroom in it. I'm all about the mushrooms this year too. I really do want to dive into, how am I going to do this so I don't have the same problem? I'm going to leave a corner. Yeah, exactly. You spend so much on ink. That is for sure. Miss Moonlight. Got it. Epson Echo ET2400. Nice. I
don't know that.
Echo is going to put her 2 cents into it. She's probably going to tell me how much it is on Amazon. Echo, stop. She's just deciding to butt in on the conversation. Being first-generation American of Scottish parents who have passed, I still make steak and mushroom pie along with tatties and I don't know how you say that. Neeps, Linda? Neeps? I don't know what those are. If you can describe what those are, I would love. Steak sounds delicious. Mushroom pie. You know, I like mushrooms mixed into things. I'm not a big fan of just like straight up eating lots of mushrooms. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm sure it's very good for you, but in terms of taste wise, I think it's a texture thing more. Tatties are potatoes. Yeah, I figured that. Neeps are rutabagas. Okay. Okay. I did not know. This is going to drive me bonk. Oh, there we go. There we go. I got it. I got it. Okay, I need my little, you know, if you buy nothing else, make sure you have tweezers if you're going to mess with stickers. I guess we'll put this moon over here because I want to put Kauna in there. Gabe said, I don't love sauerkraut, but I love money. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of sauerkraut, but I do appreciate financial security. So maybe I will just suck it up and just deal with it. Do I want it smack in the middle or no? Yeah, let's just smack it in the middle. There we go. Okay. Sorry, folks. We're not, no, I'm not really sorry. We're just hanging out and chit-chatting about random things. Learned my lesson. Leave a corner. Leave a straight corner when you're cutting these. As much as I've used these already, I should already know that. Borscht, I'm sure I'm slaughtering that, is my favorite New Year's soup. My ancestors are Ukrainian and Lithuanian. You know, my granddaughter, so obviously my family is very Germanic. Is that the best way to put it? We're very Germanic. Not, I mean, a lot of grandparents born in Germany, but more Scandinavian. A lot of Swedish, Norwegian, and then Celtic with the Irish and the Scottish chunk there, and then English thrown in. Good old Anglo-Saxon blood as well. So the Germanic tribes, right? You know what? It's funny. We are. My mother's we know, so I know where all of my grandparents were born for 3 or 4 generations. So my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandparents. and most of my great grandparents. So we have a very solid family tree. And so we know that most of my mother's greats and great grandparents were born in Germany, but they clearly came from other places because genetically, even my mother doesn't have a lot of German, which is very interesting. That obviously, and some of them we knew, like they had moved from, they obviously moved from other areas. There is this misunderstanding, in my opinion, there's a misunderstanding in Europe, right? That, if you're born, if you're from Germany, like you are German from, generations, whatever. People move in Europe all through the generations. They have shifted and moved all the time, right? So, yeah. So my mother's DNA, she got hers done, and it's very interesting because we know where her grandparents were born, in Germany, but not a lot of German uh, DNA. Yeah, again, that stuff changes all the time as they're trying to perfect it. But and some things will split out, like where there's a lot of English, it might split out some German and things like that. But it's very interesting. Nothing surprising. Like I know what my breakdown is. The surprising thing was that we had a big old chunk of Scottish, which we did not know. We thought it was all Irish because we thought my grandparents who immigrated here, Nellie, who's Nellie's deck is named after. Nellie McNally, we thought was Irish. They were married in Ireland and then they came to Boston. But come to find out, I had a big old chunk of Scottish. We're like, well, that's interesting. And come to find, did some more digging. Females are much harder to find information about. But anyways, Nellie actually was born in Scotland, and she came to Ireland when she was 19. Her family moved to Ireland, or came to Ireland. I want to say they probably came just as a bouncing off then to come to the US. That's my guess. But she bumped into Michael Fitzgerald and love was in the air, and they got married in Ireland, and then almost immediately then came over here. My family, my Michael's side of the family were kicked out of Ireland for some, too much into the Brotherhood, which later became the IRA. But anyways, so that was interesting because of the genealogy, the DNA test, we found out about the Scottish that we didn't know was there. And then we were able to find it through the birth certificates and stuff, but very interesting. Sorry, that was way more than you needed to know. Ooh, that didn't sound good. Somebody sounds like they fell up there. Tanya says, good morning. I joined late. Is real sky the same as Vedic? No, Vedic astrology, and I am not an astrologer, so please take things with a grain of salt. Vedic astrology is close. So they do have some degree of the real sky, but they stick with the most. I'm sure there are some that do not, but they stick with the 30-degree signs. Right. And I don't think they use a fucus. Patrick can correct me if I'm wrong, or anybody else who knows more. But they stick with the 30-degree signs. The constellations are not all the same size, folks, right? There's little ones, there's big ones. And so, the sun is going to stay longer in one sign over another. For example, Virgo, I believe, is quite a large one. And so there are going to be more people in Virgo than there are going to be people with suns in a fucus, because a fucus is smaller, or whatever. Scorpio and a fucus is pretty small. That the sun passes through, or whatever planet passes through. So Vedic does account for the shifting over time, but they still stick with the 30-degree signs. So it's not quite the exact same. It's closer. Sorry, my daughter keeps messaging. Let me check with her. Hello, this is my face iPhone. Let me check with her, make sure everything's okay. Oh, she's just sending me cute pictures. And yes, reply sounds good. I have tasked her with, I'm trying to be a good good mother to a daughter with a new baby, and be there and be supportive, but not be intrusive. You have to be careful. But I have requested many pictures. Let me see. I'm just gonna. Oops. How do you have to? I think you have to layer. Nope, you can't see. You have to take the slide all the way down. We'll just peek. Ah! She's so freaking cute. She is cute. Oh, so I was saying, my family is very. That's where I was at when I got sidetracked. My family is very Germanic, so we come from the Germanic tribes, right? That, be it Scandinavian or Anglo-Saxon, all of those, right? The Germanic tribes, very much. So we are very, very pale people. And my niece had twins 3 months ago. So we have these adorable 3-month-olds. My niece, my great niece, I guess, is, holy goodness, she is the whitest, translucentest child. I believe she's also going to have red hair. We do have red in our family. The men have red beards. My grandfather, who raised my dad, had fire engine red hair. His mother was Nellie. But we have a lot of red tones in our hair, but we haven't had, we have one true redhead. I have a niece who is a beautiful strawberry blonde redhead, lots of beautiful, I love freckles. I have tons of freckles. I'm a big fan of freckles. Where's my thing? But Miss Nora is like the whiteyest of all of us, and looks like she's got strawberry blonde hair. But and her brother's not much. Her twin brother's not much more color to his skin. My granddaughter, so my bonus son, is of Hungarian, and has direct Hungarian and Romani or Gypsy blood through a specific country, and I can't remember at the top of my head. But he is very olive-skinned, dark. And Miss Isla is very olive-skinned, dark. And we did some pictures over Christmas of her in between the twins. And she was so cute. She was so cute because in a sea, in family pictures, in a sea of and Katie is very pale as well. Her dad, Katie's father, is definitely more what we would call swarthy as well. He's not ever had his genetics done, but Katie is very Germanic. And we call the newest twin baby, she's just like a little northern princess. Like, she came from the high northern areas of Sweden. But to see my granddaughter with her was so cute, because she was just this little dark girl in the middle of these two whitey tighties, and it was super cute. Super cute. Sorry, we're talking genetics. So we need my bonus son to get his DNA done, because they're pretty clear about where their family line is too. They have a pretty good solid family tree like our family does. There's a lot of people who don't have this. It amazes me. But there's a lot of people in the US, and I would guess maybe Australia, other places where, there's a lot of immigrant people. There's a lot of people who don't actually know where they come from, or don't have solid family trees, which is so interesting to me, because ours was always so well documented and saved. Like, we definitely, the generations were kept hold of our tree and who's who strongly. Hello, Elrond. Happy New Year. Sorry, I'm just babbling whilst putting mushrooms onto my page. Patrick said that is correct. Vedic makes all the constellations the same size and removes a fucus. Yes. And obviously there are reasons for that, right? People, it can be adoption. There can be breaks in family for good reasons that, you lose some of that information. But I just was always shocked because our family was always so strong on our family tree and where we come from. And so I was really surprised that most of the people I know don't have, I would say more people than not of people I know don't have a strong, very clear understanding. Like I have birth dates and birthplaces for generations, and a lot of people don't have that. And it was very surprising for me to find that out. I like these little cluster mushrooms. Oh, you can't see them until I put them on something. It's going to be the year of the mushroom. Does that mean I need to microdose some mushrooms? I've never microdosed mushrooms. I do know people who've had, and I've had very powerful experiences, but I don't know if I'm ready for that. Okay, I think that's good enough. It does not look the same as my printed one, but I've got all the information. I've got my cards of the month. I got my breakdowns. I do need to put in my active, and let's just write that in over here. We'll do this and this. Let me get out my sheet. Happy New Year, Indigo Rose. Patrick has a run. Happy New Year. I know. I'm sure this has been longer than I anticipated, but we're just babbling. Okay, so what did we say my breakdown was? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 7 receptive or stable. I really think of these as stable, and 4 active, and then obviously the 1 major, which I already have noted over here, but we'll just pop it in there. Do you use whole sign? I have used whole sign houses for even with Western astrology. I use whole sign. So the answer is yes. I need to do, Patrick is, I know he had to leave, but I do need to do a conversation about houses. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with houses going forward. I'm right now using more runic houses, is what I'm kind of doing at the moment. But yes, I did whole signs with Western astrology. But whole sign houses with astrology, but that would have to change, right? That's what I haven't sorted out yet. So I'm gonna say I don't know exactly what I'm doing with houses. Obviously, houses are a construct of Western astrology, and there's not actual houses in the sky, right? And so it's more thinking about how do you want to divide that ecliptic up for something else other than the signs. So the signs themselves, I do the actual size, right? That's what if it's bigger, if one sign's bigger than the other, one sign's bigger than the other. That's just what it is. Where is the sun or the moon or whatever? Where is it in? What sign is it in when I look up? It doesn't matter, for me, the system of astrology, but where is it actually? I check the weather every day for the wind direction, the wind speed, the humidity of what is actually happening. And I want the same with my astrology. So, but then do you make the house? You can't make the houses the different sizes, right? That wouldn't make a lot of sense. So do I care about the houses? Yeah, I like there to be a placement. And so I would like to pull some of my northern traditions, right? I'm not interested, truthfully, in astrology that's just based on Greek or just based on even Egyptian mythologies. I don't have any Greek heritage. I don't have any Egyptian heritage. am more interested in seeing, okay, how did other people look up at the sky, and utilize that? And there's a lot of use of runes in calendar systems, in the places of my heritage, especially in Sweden, with runic calendars. And so this year I'm kind of playing around and trying to figure out where I land with that, as well. And I'm working at the moment with runes. So we'll just check back and see how it goes. It's a journey, and that's the journey that I'm on. Groon says, have you read the tale Bon Maman Jam? I'm sure I'm slaughtering that. I read it this week. He says he has not. I have not heard of it. I don't know if it's available in English as well. It sort of sounds like it's not English. Okay, better not mess these up. Okay, so that's my Wheel of the Year. Again, many books have, many calendars do have a blank space that you can do something like that just to keep yourself tapped into your cards. But the Hobonichis also have these blank areas. So I take a picture of my card of the year, my rune of the year, and then the card of the month. And I will put that into each of those, do a little bit of synopsis of those energies, and when I start the month. And then my goal is always to come back and do a little bit of a check-in on how that was useful. I'm not always as good about that as I would like to be, but I try. I'm going to try to be better this year because it is actually really helpful. I just don't always do it. I'm always, I'm more of the, okay, on to the next month kind of person than a reflective person on some things. And I think that bites me in the butt. So again, I'm going to mention this again for the sake of people who came in later. Just to let you know that today is Stuff Your Kindle for Fantasy. Let me put this link up again. This is just a list of all of the free Kindle books that you can stuff your Kindle book. And most of the time, your Kindle, you don't have to have an actual Kindle. You can just have a Kindle app. Mostly it's romance, but it's only today, is fantasy. So that's a link that somebody has gone through and done a lot of the effort of finding those free books. They're mostly indie authors, but they're free. You can find some real gems there. I've already done a bunch of stuffing and I will stuff some more. Milo asks, for your card, do you pull one or do you do a calculation? There are a lot of ways to do, you can definitely do a calculation, much like what you do I would do your calculation more on your birth card. So like I would do your birth month, day, and then the year, the new year, and you could get your card that way. But no, I pull mine. So I literally just grab a deck. I had the other deck over here, but let's just grab Nellie's. So I just shuffle, 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 shuffle. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Do your thing. However you like to shuffle. Split. So then I'll pull the months off of the split, and the year I pull from the bottom of the deck. So that's how I do a year ahead. I do them as I'm doing the year ahead. And so that's how I do. I feel like there it is. I'm missing April. There we go. So that's how I do it. But yeah, you can calculate them. There's all kinds of ways I'm sure of doing the calculations that people do. But I just like to pull it randomly in the midst of doing all the year energy. Ace of Wands. I love Ace of Wands. Aces are great energies for years, right? Because it keeps asking you to keep energy fresh all throughout the year. So to have an Ace of Wands, like to keep sparking that match all year long, that's really powerful energy. I've had Ace of Swords, and quite a few people got Ace of Swords this year of the readings that I have done. And somebody else I know got, I think maybe Jolene, Patrick's wife. But anyways, aces are great yearly energy because it is such a, it's such a, oops, wait, I was going to put, no, there it is. Thank you. Yes. This is a funny, my crystals, a lot of my crystals come from my friend Patrick. And I always say, like, he has super bossy crystals. Super bossy crystals. He obviously is attracted to really bossy crystals. They're also, most of my bigger crystals are very specific work. They have a very specific tasks, and they really don't like to be used for other tasks. But except for Aria, which is very feminine, beautiful. She's just a sweetheart. But this crystal is interesting in that it's super strong and it's always here on my table, but it's also really flexible. It's very happy to be a paperweight, which not all my crystals are, but very active. Ooh, Elrond has the moon card. You're going to be diving in. See, to me, the moon card, right, would be very powerful, but you have to be very careful situating yourself there because, for me, water, the suit of water is the suit of our personal power base, right? It's our belly. It's the water in our belly. It's our personal power, right? I always say, our emotional landscape is this like thin layer beneath and water, but then underneath that is our belly. It's the power of our personal power. Underneath that is the moon energy, right? That for me is source energy. So the High Priestess card for me is actually an action. The High Priestess is about diving into the moon energy and pulling up right into our personal power, but we wick our power up from that moon. So when you've got moon as your year card, I feel like you're in a constant state of like 8 of Cups, right? Or High Priestess, you're going to be constantly situating yourselves in that depth of source energy. Very strong. Dancing Our Hearts. This year, my guides are suggesting to skip the monthly cards and do full and new moon readings. That's great. I do love full moon readings. Love it, love it, love it. Jessica got Justice card, which is then it's also your birth card. Yeah, Justice, again, super, I mean, all the cards are powerful as a year, no matter what, but Justice is just asking you to stay out of your emotions, right? To really just stay clear and clean and cut through all the noise over and over again. That's very powerful. I hope I'm doing this correctly. I have not been paying. I've just been trusting that I'm going in the right order. I hope I'm right. We're just going to keep ahead as we're going. So far, so good. Yeah, Justice is a good one. I've definitely had Justice years. My favorite card of the year so far wasn't this year, but last year, or the year before, my card of the year was the Tower. It was one of the best experiences. Like, people moan and groan about, death and Tower. But again, for me, the card of the year isn't about a divinatory, like you're going to have a Tower year. The card of the year is our biggest tool. It is saying this is the energy that you need to keep resituating yourself. Oh, that was so crooked. Oh, well, it's down. It's down. You need to keep situating it. If you think about your energetic web, your card of the year is saying situate yourself in the center with this energy. The Tower was amazing learning year of just learning to preemptively strike, right? With fives and tower energy to just keep grabbing my own snow globe and giving it a good shake, to keep being willing to just shake up the energy and rebuild again when things get out of whack. It was such an amazing experience having the tower as a card of the year and really sinking into that energy. So that was my favorite one. So I mean, I don't have, I mean, I'm sure I can go through obviously all my old planners and sort of try to find a list, but I don't like track all my cards of the year. I don't have like a list of them. I kind of wish I did, but that is by far my favorite card of the year was the Tower. Okay, sorry, just making sure I don't forget anything. We're almost done, folks, I promise. We're almost done. I wanted to at least get these into place so that I'm at least ready to roll. It's also the ruler of your chart. What does that mean? You have a tarot ruler of, oops, I almost put down the wrong page. What do you mean by ruler of your chart? Like your birth card, or is that something different that I don't know about? My birth card is the Chariot. I never liked it, to be honest. I was just kind of like, oh, it's like so not me. Like, I didn't feel like it was reflective of me at all. Now, of course, that's some of that is because of nurture, not nature, just in terms of fundamental religion, and being a female does not set you up for confidence. That my experience of fundamental religion and being a female does not set you up for being confident at all. So I feel like that experience probably changed the course of who I might have been. And so I just was like, how is that my birth card? Like, it does not at all. It doesn't reflect who I see myself at all. But I have come to, understand that that's sort of the space in which I want to be moving towards, to recover that energy and do that work of coming back to that energy. Just like, have you heard in numerology, right? So my number is 7, but my number, like my favorite number and my powerful number my whole life before I ever knew anything about numbers has been the number 3. And 3 is what completes the 7, right? So you think about what your birth number is and what is the number that completes you, right? That completes you brings you to 10 and brings you back full circle. That can be really telling. And so I do enjoy that, because 3 has always been my number, because it's the number that brings me full circle. Very interesting. Okay, there we go. Now, I still have these, but I'm not going to do these right now. I am going to go through, I've already gone through and done all of the astrological shifts into my weekly. And so when the shifting I'm going to go through and put these in when they shift through in the new rune shifts. I'm going to put those in, but I've got to sit down and do that more, paying attention and mindful. But I have all my cards of the months in. I have obviously my spread for my pull and all my information there. I have all my current birthdays and all my ancestral days, observance days, which are birthdays. I put in the birthdays of my ancestors going back, grandparents, great grandparents, and great great grandparents. Right now, I still have some great great greats, but it becomes much more scattered then. I need to sit down and look through those, but I track birth dates of all of my 3, those would be obviously my parents are living, so my parents are in there as well, but then my grandparents, great grandparents, and great grandparents. And so that on their birthdays I can sit in ancestral space and say their name and sort of honor that energy. So those are in there already, and then all the astrological shifts and the runic shifts are in and ready to go. So I feel like I'm at least pretty ready to roll into today, which is January 1st. My daughter did send me a picture of, let's see, of the day. Now I did also pick up, and I'm not sure if how I'm going to use this. Oh, she's so cute. So I'll have to print out my picture of the day of my granddaughter. But I am, let's see, is there anything I need to pull out of here? No, I got flags in here, flags in here. I was going to try to, what I've started to try to do is on my weekly, I'll do it for a month. So I'll do a little bit of decorating for a month, really minimal. Just a little bit of washi. And again, I barely use this. This was just my kind of tester, but I did it for a month ahead. And so I need to sit down and do that as well. And then I will decorate. Usually you're in the 2 spreads. I'll do 2 days at a time and kind of just put a little washi down at the bottom. I was going to do that, but I'm already almost at 2 hours. So I feel like we're probably tired of my babbling at this point. So that's going to go in there. I haven't had, like, I've had a half book in. Let's see how, see, it's fine. So this is the Hobonichi Techo original. So it's the full year in the A6, right? It's not a cousin. The cousin are A5s. And then this is the weekly insert, but it goes in perfectly fine in the Motor. And I still have a little notebook in here as well. And it still really clips. It's a little snugger, but you've got this one. So yeah, that works perfectly fine. I hadn't tried it in there, but it works perfectly fine. I mostly use the Tombow Mono pen. So that's mostly all I've been using because it doesn't get messed up by Tombows. These are the most things that I grab from. I'm sorry, I forgot I was so zoomed in. Either, you know, Tombows, or I've been really liking these Faber-Castells. They have now some brush pens. They're much more watery, I guess that's the way to say. They're more liquidy, which I enjoy. Obviously a pencil's handy. I have found on the new Hobonichi paper, you know, the Hobonichi paper or Tomo River paper, there's not much of a difference with the new paper, but I will say that my smaller pencil that I used to use doesn't write on here very well. I ended up having to go to, this is like a larger, I don't even know what it is. 7. So this is the number 7. I had to go to a larger pencil to get it to write on this newer paper, which I thought was weird. But anyways, I swapped that out. Obviously, if you use Hobonichi's, this is identical to the paper. The Tombow Mono correction tape, great for that. I use that because I'm doing picture of the day of my granddaughter, Canon Ivy. Scissors, eraser, a little ruler. Like, these are stuff that I access pretty much every day. Oh, and don't forget some kind of little tweezers if you're a sticker person. I did pick up, let me zoom back out again, then we'll wrap it up. I did, you know, because this is smaller, right? Because I didn't get the cousin. Because this is smaller, let me get my other one. Obviously, if I get too decorative, I don't have as much room to write in. And I do find that the smaller one is a lot, a lot more to-do lists and those types of things. And so I kind of have to squelch a little bit my decorating things, stickers and things that I love. So I did pick up, I had a gift certificate and it was 40% off. So this is a disc bind. It's Happy Planner, but if you know Happy Planner, they tend to be really brightly decorated, which is great sometimes, but I really wanted to be able to just use stickers and not be too decorative. So I did pick this one up. It's like a sub brand. It's called Work Plus Life, but it's by Happy Planner and it has the disc rings. And it's very plain. I mean, it's got pretty on the fronts of the months, but the actual months, better days are coming. I like that. It's got a plain month here and the weeks, it's got a little bit of goals and notes section. And then it has a very plain vertical calendar. So I'm thinking of using this. This is Deirdre's suggestion because she's got lots of planners. So does Jamie. I don't know if Jamie's still on either. Jamie and Deirdre have many planners for different things. I try to have just one planner, but I'm thinking of using this a little more scrapbooky. So I can put like multiple pictures and be more decorative and stickery. And I'm thinking maybe even like my readings, like I do things like at the beginning of the month, and this gives you a nice, it does give you a nice section. Where is that again? So sort of overall plans, notes that could be like for a full moon reading or something. I don't know. It doesn't have any dailies or anything, but I'm thinking of doing this a little more scrapbooky and just decoratively. I haven't decided yet. Like I said, it was 40% off and I had a gift certificate, Christmas gift. So I thought, oh, I'm going to do that and figure out what I'm going to do with that. So I picked this up and then I picked up, of course, more stickers. This is a Celestial Elegance. These were 40 or 50% off too. So I don't know. I'll have to do another chit chat along and decorate up for a few ways into this. Because I do miss, like we did that whole, not this year, but last year I did every single week, like, decorate for the week. And I do miss that. But I'm thinking of doing maybe just like a monthly one and I'll do like things out for a month. So I might do that this week too. I got a couple of different videos I need to do if I want to start the year out right. But, just kind of get things set for the month. And then that's going to take stress off of me and still be fun. So I think that's kind of my tentative thought. Here comes the sun. Blinding sun. I'm gonna have to stand up if I really want to fix that, but we're almost done. So I think I'm going to do that. It's like, let's have a month, plan ahead month, decorative wise. And then I think that'll be fun. We can have a pull a card of the month for us and stuff. Kind of like we did, but with less commitment than a weekly one. So that's my plan. Dancing Our Hearts said, my new go-to pen is a Uniball. I've heard that with the Uniball Signo. I have definitely heard that. My issue really is that I do a lot. So like for today, I have kind of come to a pretty good system with this. In that I don't ever really get up before 8 o'clock. So let's be honest, I'm a night owl. I tend to block that out. And generally, this is for errands or places that I need to go or whatever. That's generally kind of, sometimes I leave it blank and I use it for other things. And then I tend to have my to-do list is really important. I need to sit down and do a to-do list. So I do that. And then I always block off, again, this is really late in the night. I don't need to schedule that late. So I block off here and put the readings. And I shouldn't wrote this here because obviously today is a day off. I took yesterday and today. My throat, people at my year ahead readings were saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry you have a cold." I'm like, I actually don't have a cold. My throat was just sore from talking, doing a lot of year ahead readings. And so I took off yesterday and I took off today. This is fun. So this I don't think is as work. But generally, and the readings that I have to get done that day go there. And then anything important go there. So then I like to take either the gray or pink usually. And I just do this. Now, anything else other than the Tombow Mono, gets smears. Now, could I do it first? Yes. Do I ever remember to do it first? No. So it has really limited me down because I just don't want to mess with it. And I usually put a piece of washi over here. And then, I'll do my to-do list. And then I don't tend to stick stickers on until the end of the night. So I see what space I have left, throw some stickers on. I did find a lot of little little stickers so that they don't take up so much space. So these are nice to use because it's a much smaller space. But I have a ton of stickers and scrapbook paper and stuff. So I think that that's where I'm going to be able to use this. Somebody had set up there like a granddaughter scrapbooky thing. Yes, 100% for more than just one picture of my legacy to the world. Yes, Pamela. Yeah, I need a granddaughter journal, and then maybe that's what that can be there. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, so that I have heard. My point is, I have heard about the Signo, but I just have found myself just using this because then I don't have to worry when I put a highlighter over it that it's going to smear because I never remember to do it. And then I do put in time. Like now I know at 2:00. I'm going to run over to my nieces to see all the babies, twin babies, and my grandbaby. Like, how wonderful is it for those three cousins? I grew up with a passel of cousins, right? My mom had 9 in her family. Each one of those siblings had many children. And so I grew up with like a pack of cousins. And Katie and Michael both had multiple cousins around them. And my youngest siblings are their age because I have a wide age spread in my family. I'm the second oldest, but my youngest sister is only 2 years older than my son and my niece. So they kind of all ran in a little pack. And so my niece has a 3-year-old, and now she has these twins, and now obviously my granddaughter, and they're planning on popping out another one quickly. And so there will be a little passel of cousins, that's important, right? Family is important. So it's kind of cute to see. But right now we get the benefit of lots of little baby snuggles. So, but yeah, if I have something particularly planned, I will put that in. And if I know that I've got to be somewhere specific, which is not always the case, right? Because I work from home, I don't generally have a lot of specific things, but okay, I feel like I've babbled too much. So you are all gracious and say I don't babble, but I do babble, and it's okay. It's who I am, and I embrace it. But I appreciate you all babbling with me on January 1st. While we welcome in the new year, may it be better than the last, even if the last was fabulous for you. I feel like last year for me was very scrabbly, and I didn't like that. I do New Year's resolutions. But I'm not frivolous about them. I really try to pick things that I can actually follow through on. And I generally do follow through on them. So I'm very serious about my resolutions. I don't just kind of willy-nilly throw them out there. Like, I really think about them and I want them to be achievable. And I generally do not 100% great, but I generally do pretty good on them. Last year, I felt partly, and I can tell because my planners were a mess, which is never usually the case and never usually a good indication. one. I just felt like I was kind of constantly playing catch up, like constantly 2 steps behind, like a scrabbly feel that I did not appreciate or enjoy. So my main goal for this year is to, and I'm not generally like that. I'm generally much more better organized. And so it's to kind of resituate myself. 10 of Pentacles, right? Solid, be very much in the fullness of power of utilizing my resources, time, energy, resources, being on top of that and being in a fullness. Tens for me are completion and fullness. So to be physically in the fullness of my resources, managing my time, managing my energy, managing my money, like all of it from a place of fullness, not from a feeling like a scrabbling feeling. And I think that can be, it's, again, economy's rough. Everything's tighter, right? Money or food costs more money. Money is harder to get a hold of, right? It's a kind of a climate that causes us to panic and scrabble, or feel like we have to scramble. And I definitely felt that over the last year. And I don't like, that's not a place to constantly exist from. So my main goal is to sit in the center of my web and really sit with that 10 of Pentacles energy, where even if resources are tight, you stay on top of it and you go through and you set things up for that legacy effect and not be that scrambly effect. So that is my main. I have other ones as well, but that's my main one, and one I intend to put a lot of focus into for sure. I've missed these live chats. I know. So that's what I'm going to try. Again, I'm not up to committing to a weekly live chat like I always used to do on Sundays, but I am going to try to do a monthly one so that I can do some chit chatty and kind of decorate whilst doing so. And so we can at least still stay touching bases without, in a way I think that will be helpful for me, and hopefully you all enjoy. So I hope to catch up with you more often this year. And again, I have a couple things that will come out this week because I need to catch up. I do need to do a review of all of the decks that I review. I do that every year, so I definitely have to do that this week. And there was something else I said I need to do this week that, if it's not written down, it doesn't get done. So I need to sit down with my weekly and do that. But I hope that you all have a better year ahead than last year, even if last year was good. And I wish you all peace in your journey. And I will see you all on the interwebs somewhere, but I'm going to go snuggle some grandbabies. All right. I'll talk to you all later. Not grandbabies, grandbaby and great nieces and nephews.